Slangin the Bizkit, episode 10. I screwed up last week's intro. I screwed up the week's intro previous to that. We're going to nail it today. We're batting 100% today. Intro song, Keep Away, Godsmack from 1997 from their album All Wound Up. Pat, you ever heard of Godsmack? You like a little Godsmack in the morning?
Never heard of them, but it sounds like it's a great tune.
It'll get you bumping on a Thursday morning when this podcast goes up. Also, the Gopher situation, we wanted an update last week. Do you have an update on the Gopher that was in your engine bay last week?
Yeah, it seemed to never come back. So if it was in there when I drove away, God bless that Gopher, but he is no longer with us. But the neighbor also could have been pulling a prank on me. I don't know. But it's over with. It's in the past now.
You know what would have been a good plot twist? Is the guy climbs in your engine bay, you go to Whole Foods, and he gets out in the parking lot when you get to Whole Foods, and he's going shopping in the dumpster afterwards.
Hey, you know, if I wish that a Gopher had that advanced of a brain. I don't think that they do, but you never know.
We had a request this week. Somebody asked, can you guys get Gordie Howe on the show? And I said that might be a little bit of a stiff interview, but we got a guest this week. You like that one? Or is that a little bit too bad? No?
No, that was good.
Because he's dead? Oh, shit.
Yeah. Stiff. No, because, like, dead bodies are stiff.
Okay, so while we get the train back on the tracks, we got a guest this week. I'm beyond excited. I'm 20 milligram hard to get him on the podcast and to have him co-host this week. We're talking a lot about YouTube this week. YouTube is going to be the constant theme. He's a full-time YouTuber. I'm a full-time YouTuber. Pat's an aspiring full-time YouTuber, part-time right now, chipping away at it. Yeah. But welcome to the podcast. Who's going to be co-hosting this week? Michael Downey, also known as Danger Aaron, long-lost relative of Aaron McGehee from Jackass.
Oh.
I'm verified. Don't know if that's officially true, but, you know, we'll go with it for now.
You're verified on YouTube, though, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a bigger deal.
You know what's funny? We talk about this every week because we've had guys playing in the NHL on our podcast before, and I'm consistently the only one who's not verified. Pat's verified because he's a draft pick for the Florida Panthers. You're verified.
Nice.
Seeing the common denominator here.
Yeah, it's funny because I used to play field hockey. This may get into my ice hockey stories later on, but I always have to differentiate between field hockey and ice hockey. And I played actually got to a point, I'm probably jumping way too far ahead in the podcast here, but I got to a point in my sports career where I had to choose either high-level ice hockey or high-level field hockey, and I ended up going the field hockey route and made the junior national team at one point. And then we didn't make the junior World Cup, so the team kind of got dissipated and all of that. And I decided to start traveling and start working and kind of follow the career trajectory I'm on now. But a lot of my friends on the team stuck with the team and have been to a few Olympics, so they are all verified. So I have friends on Instagram that are verified because they were Canadian Olympians, but I don't, like, none of them are famous, and like they don't have any big following because no one follows men's field hockey on Instagram. So it's pretty funny. I may have bigger numbers than they do, but they're verified and I'm not. So that is what it is. So Travis, verification is not everything, okay? You are still validated.
Yeah, you guys keep telling yourself that, but IG verification feels good on this side of the camera.
It looks good, Pat. It looks good.
It's the attention grabbing. When you leave a comment anywhere, it could be on the Weather Network, the Food Network, Guy Fieri's post. It could be a Mother's Day post. People see it because you got that big blue check mark.
It stands out. I've applied for it. Once I hit 100,000 subs on YouTube, I thought I could apply for it on Instagram, and you can, and it takes however long, and they go, basically twice they've gotten back to me, and they're like, no, we've denied your verification request. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not a big deal. I get it.
But YouTube says that you are. Like, I was reading about this the other day, and we may have been talking about this, but when you hit 100K, they will automatically verify you. You know, you go through, here's my passport, here's my ID, but they verify you, and you're confirmed on YouTube, correct?
I don't think it's automatic. Like, I had to go through in the settings and click some box to be, like, to request verification, but yes, it's a really easy process, and it's basically unlocked once you hit 100K.
And so, just for everybody listening here, Michael Downey, his channel is Downielive on YouTube. He's got 250,000 subscribers, a quarter and change. Thanks for coming. Keep the change. You see that silver play button? If you're watching,
Look
the
at that
podcast, you're watching the video version of the podcast,
big deal.
you see what success looks like. Look at that.
it's shocking what a silver play button means to us, because it's nothing. Like, it just sits there now, and it's like, oh, congratulations, you got a little award for Employee of the Month. But it you have worked so hard to get that, and I'm 2.5 times bigger than I was when I got that. But that means so much, not what I've accomplished since. I don't know, it's so weird that it's just, I think it's really because we don't have colleagues, we don't have any other, there's a lot of people in our industry, but we don't have people that we work with specifically day in, day out to celebrate little victories and little milestones, and you're always focused on the next video, that when you get recognized with a little plaque like this, it's just kind of proof, and again, validation, like the check mark, that you are progressing and making it in your field. Because otherwise, you're just alone out there making vids.
Lonely world.
I can't believe you got that thing buried behind a plant.
So the reason is, it was out, the plant is new as of this week, and it's because my partner Nicole, she's on Zoom calls with work all the time, and it's in the background, and everyone asks her about it, and so she's like, okay, because it's not hers, so she's kind of just tucked it away for a little bit. It's okay.
If you do a little bit of number crunching collectively on this podcast, there's about 350,000 subscribers collectively, with one of us pulling a majority of the weight. But there is a good workload here being done by one. Somebody's pulling the weight here on this group project A.
Equal contributors, though. That's what's important.
That's right. Thank you for making us feel better.
So if you don't mind me asking, and Pat and I were really curious about this, like what made you want to do YouTube? Because like we collectively have a passion for film. Like Pat started because he wanted to share a vision. He wanted to share an idea about, with him playing college hockey, at University of Maine. I was kind of the same. I had an idea that I wanted to share. I'm sure you're probably something similar.
Yeah, the little backstory is, in grade 10 back in high school, we had to start taking electives, and I wanted a really easy elective, and there was a TV production class, which was you just get to make videos with your friends and make movies. And I was like, that sounds awesome. And I had a great time doing it. Grade 10, we did it again, grade 11, and grade 12. And you learn the basics of editing. I mean, this was back when editing wasn't on a Mac. This was we had big editing machines called a Casablanca, and you had to offload the VHS tape. I'm 34. I should give some context. That I was in high school a little bit before you, but VHS tapes, offload it into this digital editing machine, and then you could edit it. Anyway, that's where I learned all the basics, and a friend of mine went to do film school afterwards, and I was like, yeah, that was fun, but I don't know. And I went off to business school, and it took 13 years to graduate with my bachelor's of business administration, because I just had so many different side projects come up that I'd take a semester off. I helped a doctor run across Canada for 2 semesters. I went to Europe to do an internship and travel, et cetera, et cetera. But in all that, I ended up getting this great marketing job, experiential marketing. I would basically travel 2 different festivals in Western Canada and would set up an ice cream machine and hand out free ice cream in the summer at festivals and free hot chocolate in the winter. Best gig. And then we lost our main client, and the company had to downsize, and I was laid off. And it was right around that time that I had started watching television differently. I was no longer watching television in traditional TV shows. I was watching Netflix, I was watching YouTube, and starting to follow YouTubers. And at the time, Los LeBlanc, he's from Vancouver, which is where I'm from. He had just made a video that explained how he made money. And my business degree and marketing sense clicked. And I went, I understand that. I think I can do that. And I should also say that when I was laid off, I had all this free time, and I went and traveled for a little bit, and I was just recording on my GoPro and editing them together, and spent all my evenings editing. And that's a sign when you spend all of your free time doing something, you enjoy it. And I was like, okay, I really like this. There's got to be a way I can make money at it. That's when I watched the Los LeBlanc video. It clicked, and I said, okay, so I actually have a personal YouTube channel out there called Michael Downey. That's where everything was going. And once I watched that video and learned how I wanted to make this work, that's when I started Downielive, because all of my content now has to be delivered for the viewer. This needs to be something that they want to watch, they want to subscribe for. It's no longer about me and my holiday. Who cares? So
if I could cut you off for 2 seconds, like timing-wise, like Like, what time are we looking at here?
This is, good question. This is 4.5 years ago. So that's 2016. And end of 2016, December of 2016.
So 2016, you didn't have a YouTube channel, you didn't have any following or anything, and then you said, time to start going to work.
Yeah, exactly. And so because I just been laid off, I had a little bit of time. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start this channel. I obviously need to get a job because a channel makes zero money with 0 subscribers. So I purposefully took a job that I would hate. And I got a job as a junk removal guy. So I could go out during the day, do mindless work, lifting. I could be thinking about my YouTube channel and come home at night, edit, do whatever I need to do, make some money during the day, keep going until the channel started to take off and I could quit the job. I wanted a job that I could quit guilt-free, not care, they'll be fine, they can hire another guy to lift garbage, it's not anything substantial. And that's what I did. After about 10 months in the job, I had kind of some freelance video gigs on the side, and I'd have editing projects on my laptop at home, and I'd be sitting in this truck lifting garbage going, I should be at home getting paid to edit their videos, not paid to sit here. And so I quit in the middle of the day, straight up 1 p.m., drove back to the office, dropped the keys on the boss's desk, and really great guy. I really liked him, and I was like, I'm so sorry. This is not to spite you. I'm not doing this to hurt you today, but like, I need to go home and I need to quit this life. And half of me doing that was to burn that bridge. I didn't want to go back a month later and be like, hey, do you have any part-time work? YouTube's not taking off. I needed to burn that bridge so I could not go back and force myself to make YouTube work. And it's funny because I actually became really good friends with his brother-in-law. And so we do stay in touch, not in touch, but we bump into each other at like family events and whatnot every now and then. And there's that animosity of I really screwed him that day, but at the same time he's an entrepreneur and he understands, and like I've in quotations made it. So I followed my dream, and that's all I can ask for.
So you really like went into this on a mission, kind of like you watched this business like video of how to make money on YouTube, and you're like, I'm gonna do this. And just made that happen. Like, it wasn't by accident. You really planned it.
A number of YouTube stories do happen where they put out a few videos here and there and they're having fun, and one of them blows up and they go, oh, I can do this. And then they struggle later on because they never really figured the secret sauce on how to make that video blow up or haven't been able to do it again. Mine was a conscientious effort from the beginning, slow and steady. I want to make a career of this. Now, by career of this, I don't want to be a YouTuber at 50 per se, but it's building that business that will grow and change and differentiate over time and bring in other elements. But this is what I want to be doing. And I have to say, I think I have the best job in the world. Because, so if you're a viewer, if you're a listener and you don't know what my YouTube channel is, it's an adventure channel, which means there's some travel related. I know Travis will get into the trains here, but I ride trains from A to B. I like to, I guess I'll call it lightly alternative travel, but the other half of the channel is behind the scenes videos where I'll ride on a tugboat for a day. I'll drive a Zamboni and see what it's like to be the Iceman at the rink for a day. I'll do all these random jobs that no one else is allowed to do. So I've been in the rafters at our stadium, BC Place Stadium. I've been underneath the oldest wooden roller coaster in Canada, and it shows how it actually works underneath. All this random stuff that people don't get to do. And again, going back to when I started my channel, that was an active part of the process of how am I going to grow my channel? How do I differentiate myself? No 5-star resort is going to put me up for free when I have 800 subscribers. I don't have a chance. So that's when I emailed 7 different tugboat companies out here on the West Coast. 4 of them got back to me with no's. 2 of them didn't get back to me at all. And 1 of them said, sure, come on board. And with 800 subscribers, I got 25,000 views and a whole ton new subscribers because they're like, no one else is doing this. This is awesome. And they want to see more of it. Boom. So that was, and then honestly, there's a selfish reason to that as well. It's feeding my own childhood curiosity of being a young boy going like, I want to be a tugboat driver. I want to be a fireman. I want to do this. Like, now I get to do all of that. So
this sounds a lot cooler than our stories of how we made videos, eh, Pat?
Yeah, a little bit. It was more calculated, I think.
Like here here we are just walking in the locker room one day, just sitting, sock taping up, the socks or whatever, and we're thinking, I'll start filming a video. This guy walks into the boss's office, flips his desk, gives him the bird, sets the place on fire, and says, "I got a premiere at 5 p.m. See you later, sucker."
That's electric.
But this is so it is strategic. So take you guys, you're like out there playing hockey and you just want to film a video, and I'm over here going, I'm going to drive the Zamboni. That is on purpose, because if I reach out to, let's say, the Vancouver Canucks, they're going to go, no, we have our own media team. We don't need you to come in and do anything. But I go to the other hockey team or nearby rink, showcase their Zamboni driver in a great light. Then maybe the Canucks are like, why don't you showcase our Zamboni driver? Because they've never thought to do that. Right. Then they showcase their players. And you just like tiptoe your way in. So, okay, I'll go back a little bit. I'll tell you guys another story of how I started to make money with this. Obviously there's AdSense, but when you have 2,000 subscribers, that's so minimal that it's not enough to live off of. And I quit my job right about when I had 800 subscribers, we'll call it. So I was living off of the freelance video work I was doing for some local car dealerships and such. But again, I don't want to be doing those videos because that takes time away from me focused on my YouTube channel, on the business. So what I would do is I'd reach out to local ski resort. Basically, a friend of mine was turning 30 and he was going to rent a chalet, have 30 people, come ski all day, hang out, party at night. And I was like, I don't want to pay $300 for a 2-day ski pass. So email this ski resort. I'm like, hey, this is what I do. I want to showcase behind the scenes. I want to ride along with your snow groomer. I want to ride along with your snowmaking team and your ski lift operations. I want to see how it all works. They were like, that's brilliant. We've never had anyone reach out to us. So they go, well, tell you what, we also have Canada's highest restaurant at the very peak of Kicking Horse Resort, and gave me basically five videos to film while I was there. I got my free ski pass, got free steak lunch, they're showing me everything to show. Great. And I go, while I'm there, I do these videos you could put on Instagram or whatever you like, and I only charge X, would you like me to make any? They go, no, we're not interested, but come do this and you can put it on your YouTube channel. Great. I go up there, make the videos, and they go, actually, those were all really good. How much do you charge for those Instagram videos afterwards? I'm like, So then boom, 5 videos of Instagram. I've already filmed and edited them and put them on my YouTube channel. Now I just cut and paste the best bits and make a shorter version for them. I've made my money, and those videos did incredibly well because no one has any of the behind the scenes. So it's just finding ways to make money doing what you love. That makes me so happy and able to keep doing this.
It's unreal.
That was a really long-winded. I don't even remember what you asked. I went on this massive tangent, but
I think we were just talking about how it was strategic of you, and you're thinking outside the box. No one's that's the Zamboni one obviously hit more because we're hockey guys, but no one has ever cared about the Zamboni or the driver. Until you all of a sudden, wait, there's a Zamboni driver. Let me click this video and actually see what this guy does. It's exactly. That's cool.
I do have a slight confession to make while we're talking on the topic of Zamboni drivers. So in Europe, hockey's very different compared to North America. And when I went over to Sweden last year, our rink didn't have any pegs, right? And our Zamboni driver, he's the guy who's supposed to be stocking up on pegs. He was kind of a dink to me. So when he'd, what I mean? When he'd be taking the Zamboni out after practice, maybe I fire a couple pucks by the Zamboni door, see if I hit him in the non-slip shoes. But I do apologize for that. That got me thinking about that. Maybe he's listening. I need to apologize to him. I can't remember his name, but
those guys, I'm sure they deal with so much crap all the time. Everyone wants more ice time. They would try to stay out there as long as they can. Stop.
They do always seem a little angry.
Yeah.
They're a little mad all the time, I think. The Zamboni drivers.
Pat, do you ever grease him for 5 extra minutes? Come on, buddy, I'll shine your car out in the back and give you 10 more minutes.
Dude, you can try, but they'll fucking open the doors and just start driving the thing at you. They don't. Well, at least at Maine, they didn't care about us. Time was up, they'd open it and just start driving. They'd run you over.
Didn't even acknowledge you, just drove right to the pile of pucks.
They'd be beeping the horn at us. Get off.
You're stick handling around the Zamboni.
Gotta get the reps in. Toe dragging behind it.
364 more days till tryouts, coach. Pat, I never even asked you what made you start making your videos there, Pat? Because I know we talked about it a little bit, but I don't think we got into it to the extent that Mike just did.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I combined two passions, but I've always had a real interest in acting and making skits and sketches as a kid. And then when I was going to start doing that in college. I got super inspired by Jimmy Tatro and a few other guys, but I was just gonna start doing that. And I had this funny bit where, because my brother was committed to Maine and then decommitted, I was like, oh, that's a funny bit. I should make a little skit about that, beef in the house and stuff. And I did it, and then my computer broke and I lost the video, but another whatever. And then as I was going that summer into my junior year, I started looking a lot into YouTubers, and I was like, oh, there's a space for this with athletes. I'm like, these college football players, basketball players having real success on here. And then I'm like, I'm looking up day in the life of a college hockey player, blah, blah, blah. I'm not seeing any of them. I'm like, all right, I have a space here that I can hit that no one's even touched yet. So I just went into my junior year I'm going to make a vlog. And I got a few weird looks at first from my teammates. What are you doing?
It's so hard when you start. Everyone's so judgmental. Yeah, it's tough. It's really embarrassing, but you got to push through, and you did.
Yeah, I had a feeling once I dropped a day in the life of a college athlete, hockey player, that the hockey world would click it. Right. And it's very niche. There's not the hockey population isn't as big as, it's big in Canada, but overall not nearly as big as football, basketball, soccer, whatever. No, yeah. So, but it in its own right had a success from that first video, because no one had seen a hockey player do it yet. But.
Hold on. Yeah. Can I cut you off for 2 secs? That is a crock of shit. I remember when you put the video up, it was all over the homepage for a month. I couldn't go on YouTube without your day in the life of a college athlete being on the homepage. And my boy Jamie Phillips, he played Michigan Tech, Manitoba Moose, Winnipeg Jets. He calls me up. He's like, Trav, you've got to check out this Pat Shea guy. Have you seen this guy? I'm like, yeah. Is it the shirtless guy on my homepage? Yeah, click that video. And that's how that got. That was all over the internet. Don't try to underplay that. That was everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah, but in the hockey world, not in it was in every hockey player's homepage. My European teammates were like, my brother just saw your video.
But that's where you want to be. That's your audience.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's what I was going for. And I strategically, made a shirtless thumbnail fresh off a pump off the bench press.
He popped the blood vessel flexing so hard for that thumbnail.
They had to grab the eye, and then, oh, wait, what is this? Oh, day in life of a hockey player. Let me go check this out.
Yeah, and if you didn't know already, Mike Pat is an aspiring GQ model, which is why when we tell you that he was shirtless, this is why the video did so well. Shredded.
I understand. Yeah, it's super.
Washboard abs. It's like me. It was like a bag of cottage cheese over here.
I can only imagine what your comments section looks like.
Dude, it was straight guys. I didn't realize, but then I kind of clicked, guys want to look at shirtless guys more than girls do. It's because they want to oh, how does he look like that? How does he want to work? I want to work out like that. And then it's just but there was a lot of random hockey fans in there going you fucking loser. Nice shirtless thumbnail, you fucking pigeon. I'm like, okay.
Dude's 50% body fat.
That's a great, I love when people comment negatively about your video or something you did, because I'm like, you are only helping the algorithm, so keep throwing it my way.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for watching it.
That's a good thing you mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned it to you, Pat. I have a friend of mine. He played university hockey as well. I'm trying to convince him to come play with me in Sweden right now. And he just recently started up his own hockey Instagram, YouTube channel, very, very small. And he's always telling me he's afraid to post, a sick dangle or something that would do well, that you and I know would do well. And he's like, man, the guys that I play with, what if they see that? What if, they're going to think I'm a loser? What am I doing? They have jobs, they're in school, I'm posting hockey videos. And that exact stigma is what's going to help you grow. If you were right. Oh, people are going to think I'm too shredded, can't post this video. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's weird.
It's true. The drama helps the algorithm and helps you push ahead, but there absolutely is that stigma of people that friends, especially when you're starting. I'll say this for me, when I committed to becoming a YouTuber, I was working as a junk removal guy, but instead of introducing myself, when I started dating my partner around that time, and instead of telling her friends like, hey, I work for this junk removal company, I decided I'm going to announce myself as a YouTuber. That is what I do first and foremost, even though at the time it was only evenings and weekends that I had time to do it and wasn't making any money from it. But it was a decision that I want to be a YouTuber. I have to tell people, and I work for a junk removal company on the side at the moment, kind of thing. So it's a mindset. I hate to say that, but like you have to, it's a decision you make. Do I want to do this? And if so, I need to admit it to myself and to everyone else, this is what I'm going to do. And you might fail, but those that are closest to you, friends and family and stuff, should hopefully love you regardless. But it is, look, I went through that stage, and it's really intimidating to admit to people, but then once you've made it, people are like, dude, you have the coolest job. Oh man, that's amazing. And they're on board once you've made it. It's that middle stage when you're trying to make it. Like if you fail, they may laugh.
Yeah. They'll talk shit. They talk shit like when it's first starting, like a lot. And then it's just like, oh, wait, I see what he's doing now. It's funny. We noted down, we kind of wanted to talk about that. Like the people close to you, or like maybe friends that weren't so close or were talking shit at first, and then all of a sudden you got popular. Did you have a lot of people then coming back in like, dude, love what you're doing, man, so cool, like trying to like get back on your good side?
I will say actually most of that negative thought and stuff was from myself at the beginning, assuming people were thinking negatively what I was doing. I really didn't get any comments for friends or family. They were like, oh, okay, you're doing that, sure. And I was like, oh man, they're totally judging me for doing this. Because I think YouTubers and Instagram influencers, and they get a bad rep for all that self-love that they do. And they're just like, I'm the best. And I don't think I'm that kind of person. Actually, my sister does this. She's an elementary school teacher. She's fantastic. And she meets people and they're always like, oh, you have a brother? What does he do? And she's like, he's a YouTuber. But he's not like that kind of YouTuber. He does interesting
He's not Logan
videos.
Paul.
Yeah. Exactly. So honestly, for me, it was all myself mentally hating on me. But I absolutely have had long lost friends that have come across my videos that then drop a comment or DM me on Instagram. And they're like, dude, you just came up on my home feed. Your channel's awesome. And they're supportive down the line. Yeah.
It's interesting because recently, actually, I started doing, like I said, actually, the reason I started doing YouTube was to like do like skits and sketches. And I recently started doing that, so I've been putting them out, and of course when you do something new, your mind races of all like the negativity that might be in someone else's thoughts or people that might be talking about you, so I'm posting these and I'm new to it. I've only posted 3 so far, and I'm like, kind of scared, like fucking, like this is new, people are probably, this guy's fucking crazy. But then like I actually went out last weekend in my hometown. I haven't been home in a few weeks, and I had a few people like coming up to me like, dude, really big fan of what you're doing. I saw like your new videos. And I'm like, oh, it's funny because I assumed that you guys were just kind of shitting on me. But like, it's weird because they're not commenting or maybe not even liking it. But you don't realize that it's watching. Actually, it's interesting how that kind of happens.
We're our own toughest critics. We assume the worst of ourselves and all that. I mean, Trav, you just started a second channel because you're worried about your new different content on your channel not working, and you don't want to alienate the audience you have, so you just started a second channel.
Well, yeah, I would say as well, like Pat and I have talked a lot about that, like Pat doing the sketches for a second channel, and I want to do something different. I've dabbled my toes in the the travel vlogs and the train videos, but like the VRL videos that like you and I have kind of bonded over, that's just like the iceberg. Like there's a lot of like historical things that intrigue me, and it was the mindset of I would love to share this with my normal audience. Like I could easily cap 5,000 to 10,000 views a video, but this isn't the place to do it. Like if I want to do it, I need a dedicated spot for it. The people that come for hockey, I owe it to them to keep doing what they've come to be delivered on, and I think that's the place to go if that makes sense. I think.
See, I disagree.
You think that I should hammer away on the VIA videos on the hockey channel?
Well, I think you've built a following, and let's say 10% of them will watch anything that you make. They're like, Trav's a rad guy. 90% of them only want hockey, sure, but 10% of them are like, I'll watch anything. And so you immediately put out that next different video, that travel vlog or whatever it is, you're automatically getting 10% of them coming over to watch that. And you may get other algorithm-based viewers from YouTube based on your size. If you start from zero, you start from zero. And I don't know, there are plenty of different YouTube channels out there. Donut Media is one that comes to mind. It's a car-based channel. They have a different show and different host on their channel every single day of the week. Monday is, guy A who talks about the science of cars. Guy B is on Tuesdays who does racing cars. And so the point is, one channel has 5 different shows. There are 3 of the guys I dislike and don't watch, but I watch, Tuesday and Friday religiously. The algorithm still feeds me the videos I want to see. And I think you can differentiate the thumbnails or something so people are like, this is a Travis vlog versus a hockey video or whatever the case may be. That's my opinion. I've seen it successful in both ways, but I personally hate the idea of having to manage multiple channels, streams. I mean, I'm already managing different platforms, let alone all that. Now, I'll say one more thing. A lot of people say you have to niche down to blow up. I wanted to fight that my entire channel lifespan because I, just Michael, am generally curious in a lot of different areas. Like I said, I may be riding trains and traveling to go see polar bears one day, or back in Vancouver up a construction crane. Totally different content, totally different viewer audiences, but that's just what I'm interested in. And there's a lot of people like me that are just like, I don't want to watch a cranberry video every single week, but I'll watch one and see what he does next week. I don't know, I think if you put your own personality into it, they'll stick around, they'll go, Travis is an interesting guy, I want to see what he gets up to next. I want to see what he's like when he's traveling and not only playing hockey. But that's my thoughts. You do whatever you want, Travis.
I think that was a very good point. First off, Pat, there's a reason I have Mike in my phone as Sensei Downey. I think you now know why. Right? My woman calls him that too. She's like, "Oh, how I have the emoji too. Like I have Sensei Downey, and then and my woman all the time she's like, "Oh, have you talked to Sensei Downey? Oh, did you see Sensei Downey's video?" I'm like, "Yeah, saw it today." Right? So like it's kind of becoming a thing, like at least in this apartment household, whatever you want to call it. But I think it's almost kind of like a mullet. You know what I mean? Like you have the short faded haircut, you gotta grow it in. It gets maybe like Pat's haircut right now, where you get the wings growing in. Are you going short? Are you going long? You gotta bust through that ceiling, and then boom, you got all you can eat salad, 24/7, 365. You know what I mean? But that middle mullet, with the wings, it ain't cool. People ain't vibing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You all you have to do is educate your audience on. Look, I don't play hockey 24 hours a day. Sometimes I've traveled to get to hockey. Sometimes I take a vacation. I'm going to put all those videos there. If you don't want to watch them, that's okay. There will be more hockey in the future. Come on back. And they'll stick around.
I think the part that scares me... Sorry, you want to go ahead, Pat?
Well, I was just going to kind of ask him an opinion of my situation, but... Because, like, mine... The way I actually... Literally, this thought of separating or keeping it all on one channel, I had... Literally for probably 6 months, I was just like in my head, like, do I keep this on one channel? Do I separate it? Because like I'm somewhat newer. Like Trav's been doing it longer than me, but I have 22-ish thousand on YouTube of hockey vlogs. Just straight. That was the life of a college hockey player hockey vlogs, and. Then this past year when the pandemic hit, I was like, oh, this is a perfect chance for me to start dabbling in, the skits and whatever. So I started making hockey-related skits. Some did better. Some did okay. Maybe some only got a couple thousand, views or whatever. And then so I started thinking, like, I want to make more than just hockey skits. I want to make this different. So then I was like, okay, maybe because right now on this hockey channel, they want the vlogs and it's such a... like niche that they only want hockey. I kind of was like, maybe I should, because it's not a vlog and it's maybe not hockey related, I should maybe separate it. Do you think that's the right play? Would you even just say like throw it all on one? Or do you think it's so different that it kind of has to be separate?
No, that's a good question. Skits, I don't know why. I feel like skits are different because they are standalone, almost, I'll say, performance rather than a vlog. Whereas in Trav's case, it's both kind of vloggy, just on different topics. One is on travel, one is on hockey. But I'll say this, your audience that watches you for your hockey, I mean, you guys look at yourself as an example. I bet you scroll Instagram, it's a ton of hockey content, but I bet you there's other content on there as well. Or you go to TikTok and you're laughing away at something that is not hockey related, because we are just people with generally different interests all the time. You could be interested in multiple things, not just hockey. So my videos I make for me. I am a male, age 25 to 45, and guess what? My YouTube audience is 85% male, and 70% sits between the 25 to 45 age range. And they have a generally wide area of interest. They might be really interested in one thing and not so much in tugboats at all, but they go, you know what? He's funny or interesting, I'll watch the tugboat. And you edit it down to be the most interesting parts, and they walk away from that video going, that was interesting. So with your skits, I bet you people that watch hockey and watch your hockey vlogs may have the same sense of humor that you do, and may, whether they stumble into the skits that you're putting on your same channel and they go, oh, that's pretty funny. Or they might go, it's not for you. So maybe there's some way you can differentiate on the thumbnail. Like you have a different logo that goes in the corner, or some sort of different color font or text on the thumbnail, so they know, the skits always look like this, right, and I like those, or the skits always look like this and I don't like those, I'll just pass over it.
Would you say that a consistent formula is the answer to that? Because now that you mentioned it, kind of got my brain turning, that like the college hockey vlogs that Pat does, or the day in life, they're very different from the other stuff that he's doing. Whereas the Via Rail video, the travel videos, although it's a very different video in the sense of here's a train that I like versus here's where I'm playing in Sweden, the formula was similar. Like there's similar humor, there's similar shots, similar angle. There's a very familiar structure. So if you accidentally click on it, you'll be like, oh, I may not be interested in trains, but this feels familiar. I feel right at home.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're still curious and interested in your perspective, your thoughts. They've been following you for a year, or who knows how long. They're going, oh, this is a different side I didn't know. I think there's a lot of value to it. If you keep giving them the same thing, people will get tired of it after all anyways.
Yeah.
That's why we started the podcast.
There you go.
Speaking of which, we got to take a quick commercial break. A quick word from our sponsors.
Billy's Smelling Salts, the best sponsor in the game. Bringing this wonderful podcast to you today. What makes Billy's Smelling Salts? What makes Billy's Smelling Salts special?
High on these smelling salts, you're not even be able to spell after. You won't even know your own name, because these things are so great. You're gonna take them, put them under your nose, just give her a quick huff, and you're gonna be alive. You're gonna be awake. You're gonna be sharp as a tack. You're gonna be feeling good, ready to start your day at 5 a.m.
Yep, you get ready to win with Billy's Smelling Salts. They get you in the zone. They're designed for gamers, athletes, and competitors. So apparently gamers, if you're a gamer out there, they're not just for athletes. You're in a war zone, Call of Duty, or maybe Fortnite. Pump a little Billy's Smelling Salts in, and you get in the zone, and you're gonna come out victorious. Billy's Smelling Salts bred winners. Simple as that. And you can buy them at shopbillys.co. That's shop, BILLYS.co. And if you use the code BIZKIT, BIZKIT 69, BIZKIT 69, you can get 10% off on all smelling salts.
Thank you to our great sponsors making the podcast possible. We love money. Keep it coming. One thing that we did want to talk about after that great commercial break was Pat right now is in the middle of transition, right? So Mike is a full-time YouTuber. I'm a full-time YouTuber. Mike's obviously significantly larger than I am, but we both do this on a full-time basis. This is, for the most part, all we do for money. Pat is somewhere not quite there yet, where he's playing hockey. He's got a deal in the Cheeser to play in the Coast this upcoming season. But he also wants to pursue YouTube and whatnot as well. And one of the ideas that I had for him, and I was actually pitching this to my buddy who I'm trying to get come play with me in Sweden, is that your playing days, unless you're playing in the American League for the next 10 years, you sustain a long career and stay healthy, the best interest probably would be financially is YouTube, right? As an influencer and whatnot, you're going to be making the videos, getting money off the AdSense. You'll be getting brand deals, kickback programs and whatnot. The money you making $400, $500 a week, probably not going to last all that long. So if you're playing hockey in the East Coast of the American League, you use that to build up your credibility as, I'm Pat, I play in the East Coast. I'm Pat, I play in the American League. Hey, I just got called up. I'm on the taxi squad in the National League now. There's your credibility to platform off to your YouTube channel. And that could kind of help propel you. It's a lot of grinding involved to kind of balance both, but that was the kind of thought process that I've had been trying to share with Pat to help him grow as well. Thoughts?
There is definitely that side of building personal brands and using that to leverage opportunities, whether it be speaking gigs, maybe you become a commentator or probably not an announcer, but all sorts of different areas. Sponsorship deals come in because you have a personality, you have a platform for others. That's great. I don't think that needs to be pushed one way or the other. I don't think you need to decide right now, hockey, quit YouTube, or YouTube full-time and quit hockey. I think they can be synonymous, and I think they can help each other. But I think you do want to think about, as you're building your hockey career, it can be a short career, or it can be, you could get injured and that's it. You could not get drafted or whatever the case, and that's it. So you want to build as much as you can with the hockey on the YouTube side or personal brand side, or however you want to do that. So you have something to fall back onto. But it can also potentially help your hockey career maybe. Look, I don't know how much hockey teams take into social media following as they're drafting players to their team, but let's say if you get 5 million, you're verified, I know that, but if you have 5 million followers on Instagram, if you're able to grow yourself over the next year, does that push you over the edge of some other hockey player that's the same skill level as you, and they go, will he fit bums and seats in our games? They're a business.
And that's something hockey is so behind with specifically. Like if you were asking for another sport, like a football, the NFL, and you see a guy who's really popping on YouTube, maybe he's okay, he's good, he can play. He's not going to be the star, but he can play on the team. They're taking him because they're more ahead of that, and they know he'll put people in the seats. Like where hockey's so far behind, where I don't know for sure, I'm not in the NHL, but a lot of these GMs and coaches are very old school minded, where like they'll see a guy who's, say me, I show a lot of my personality on YouTube. I've always believed in like just not being that generic hockey player that says all the right things all the time.
Right.
And I think they would look at it and be like, oh no, he's he's a distraction. He's a distraction. Yeah, he's a liability, rather than the upside of it. Oh, he's going to put people in the seats because he's going to be showing a behind the scenes look that hasn't been done before. So I don't know if hockey specifically has that view.
Good point. Well, I'm not about to tell you how to live your life. So
no, absolutely.
My final piece of advice will do whatever makes you happy, because that is something that you will continue to do for the rest of your life. I look 100%. At parents and their kid is spending all this time on the phone filming something or practicing TikToks. I just heard a story that, I forget what business it is, but they just hired someone to run their TikTok for a year for $150,000. You can now be paid a salary of $150,000 a year to make TikToks for a company. So when parents tell their kids, like, get out, don't waste your time on TikTok, go back to study, focus on whatever it is you love doing. But be strategic about it. Think about, why are these videos getting so many likes? Why are they performing so well? Why are people following? What was it that they said? You have to be critical. I get to travel. I get to go behind the scenes and see how they start a steam train, and I get paid for that. Like, you can do whatever you want. So Pat, whatever you're passionate about, just follow that route. But be strategic in how. I think both of these careers can be short term, shine bright and then it fades out. So you either need to figure out how to make that shine longer, either find a longer lasting career, or make it burn as hot as possible for a short and scoop up all the money you can and then just enjoy life.
You know what I've found in regard to that is the financial aspect of bring something to a team. Like Pat mentioned, like if we're talking the NFL, there should be zero reason why the Dallas Cowboys or the Baltimore Ravens don't say, Pat, come to practice with us, come on a tryout for this upcoming training camp, and we'll have you in the practice squad, worst case scenario, because they encourage personality. The NHL, you say one thing and the GM's calling you in the office like, listen, don't do that again, right? Yeah. But where I think it makes a big difference is not at the NHL where we're talking billions of dollars of revenue. When you come down maybe to the East Coast, I know Pat maybe would not want to hear this, but like at the SP, at the Spill, or in the Fed, where these teams are running pretty close to breaking even and or broke, that extra bump of 100 people in the seats because the opposing team hates Pat Shea and wants to see him lose tonight, or the home team loves him, is like, I want to see Pat bury a hat trick, get a Gordy tonight. That will sell. But when you get to the American leagues and the NHL, it's like I don't think they care as much, especially with today's culture where NHL teams, I think they fear being canceled. You know what I mean? Like the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't know if you saw that. I posted that, Mike. A dad and a son go to a game. They were wearing a Panthers jerseys. Well, sir, get out of the building. You can't wear a Panthers jersey. I was also shocked. The dad said some pretty messed up shit towards the end of the video. I'm surprised nobody picked that up. Obviously, with today's culture. But and the question I got for you, Mike, and I guess Pat as well, because Pat and I talk about this. Like, are you ever afraid of getting canceled? Like, you say one thing that you think, oh, this ain't too bad, and then somebody takes it the wrong way, gets in the wrong hands, and now you're hooped.
That's a good question. So, like I said, I've been very strategic about my business and building the YouTube channel the way I have, and that is pretty family friendly. I don't swear. I don't really talk about any politics. I don't talk about any areas that would go one way or the other, because this is 100% how I make my living, and I need to continue making my living this way. But I also wanted to make it super brand friendly to bring in more revenue than someone else, or bring them over to my channel. And it's worked so far, but I do fear that. And so I've actually been very strategic to kind of keep business in terms of financials and stuff separate from personal, etc., so that if I ever do get sued, I mean, they can only sue the company and not Michael Downey personally and things like that. I'm trying to protect myself. I have insurance. But one of the things, for the first time ever, I made a video, and I guess I don't know if I should name the brand or not. I think I can name the brand. No, you're going to call them out. Okay, anyway, no,
we won't call them out. We're not that much of scumbags.
Look, all my videos are generally pretty positive. That's the whole vibe you're going to get from my video. And in this video, it was 100% positive about this company. And they emailed me afterwards, and they were like, hey, great video. Just wondering if you could watch. We're just trying to protect our trademark. Could you change the title of your video to this kind of thing? And I don't know if they have legal right to do that or not. I think, in fact, they don't. As a media, I can have free speech and I can say whatever I want about the company. They weren't complaining about what I said about them. They just wanted me to name them in a specific way in order to protect their trademark. And in the end, I believe they only emailed me so that down the line they could prove to a court if someone egregiously violated their trademark, that they go, we've been trying to protect our trademark over the last number of years. You can see all these emails we've sent to people. And I don't think it matters how we respond, but businesses with big lawyers and whatnot can really crush me in one day if I missay something. This wasn't the case in this scenario, but it's kind of an eye-opener that everyone's listening, everyone's watching, and there's a liability to it. And I can either really help someone or I can get canceled like that.
So let me ask you, did you change the name of the video for that company or no?
I did, because the video was old and had stopped performing, and I'm like, you know what? It's not going to affect me. My morals said don't do it, just stick to your guns. But at the time I was like, I don't want any legal trouble. I don't think they can give me any legal trouble, but it's a dead video at this point, so it doesn't matter.
You can still change it. It's never too late.
Well, that's it. I can always change it back. Well, what does it matter?
Yeah. The only time I think I've ever had to do that, we talked about this in last week's podcast. I'm a firm believer in once you post something, you got to stand behind that, because with today's society, it's almost like people want you to take it down. Like, for example, I don't know if you've been seeing, I've been making a lot of hot takes in the playoffs last little bit on Instagram, Mike. Maybe a little bit too, 2-0 in OT. The Jets are going to win in 3 games. I'm on glue or something. People think, but some people get upset and are like, man, you can take this down. I posted it, man. I ain't taking this down. I said what I believed. I said, you know what I mean? And people want you to take it down.
they're entitled to feel that way. You're entitled to feel your way. It's okay to hurt people's feelings. I don't think it's okay to do hate speech. You're not doing that, Trav. I know that, but
Toronto Maple Leafs fans beg to differ last night. My DMs were the amount of DMs I got from Leafs fans last night, they were like, "You dirtbag! You ever come into the city of Toronto, I will find you and I will gun you down." Okay, I'm not going to Toronto anytime soon. Then. I don't even like your city.
I think it's okay to stand by what you said. I also think it's okay for you to have learned new information and reposition yourself. You go, you're right, actually, I didn't know about that. I didn't think about that. So I will change my perspective. I think a lot of people do dig their heels in and they're like, I said what I said. It's like, but you didn't know this when you said it. Now I'm telling you that. You can change your position. And I mean, we see that a lot in the States right now where people are, it's the most divided country we've ever seen, or it's the most divided they've ever been. So it feels, I guess, probably more divided during the Civil War, I'm sure. But where it feels like we're getting pretty close to that almost. And I think it would be good for both sides to kind of understand a little bit more and go, maybe I do agree with them a little bit on this or disagree on my side with this, and just come to a little more understanding.
You would hope so. I mean, it seems that now it's like you're not allowed to hurt anyone's feelings. You're not allowed to have an opinion on things. It's like, it's because everyone, it's not everyone.
Well, you can have an opinion,
but
the second it deviates from what everybody else's opinion is, now you can't have that opinion.
Or it's there's the people that might agree and then there's the people that don't, and it's just like, okay, I hate you now. And it's like, what are we doing here? Like, it's just not that deep.
Exactly. Why do you have to hate me? I just feel slightly differently about this than you do. It's on one little topic.
Right.
So I love pineapple on my pizza. You don't have to hate me for it. We can order different pizzas. We can still hang out.
That's a great one there, Mike, because I think the pineapple on pizza and Nickelback may be the two most polarizing opinions in Canada.
Yeah.
So like on my Tinder and my Bumble, I weed out the rats right away. I got a pros and cons list. I love pineapple on pizza. I love listening to Nickelback. Thankfully, the playlist can have multiple artists. Thankfully, the pizza can be half and half. We can go both ways.
Exactly. It doesn't mean you can't coincide with people or be friends, etc.
Now, this is where you and I kind of disagree a bit. I know we've talked a little bit about it over text, but
all right.
I feel personally, I'm not saying dropping hate speech and making racist comments, because that's not cool. But what I'm saying here is that if you can say something to upset somebody or offend somebody in some way, because we're talking a very vocal minority, and Pat, actually, we were talking about this the other day, was that we talked recently in the podcast about women's hockey right now, women's pro hockey. It's just not good enough. It's not at the level it needs to be able to sell it to people. And until they change something, it's not marketable, it's not financially feasible, et cetera, et cetera. And we got a lot of backlash for making those comments, but it's a very vocal minority because the majority is very silent and they just agree, they carry on about their day. I've been telling Pat about this as well. I feel like if you can offend a couple people, get a couple people riled up to leave a comment in the videos, they dislike you, and they feel so strongly that they're going to come back next time and tell you you're a shitbag. They're going to come back, dislike the video, and they're going to put your face on a dartboard. They're going to post about you on Reddit. That's what you want. You want people to love you like that or hate you like that, because that'll get something. If you go right down the middle, they'll never come back. They're like, meh, just another guy on the internet.
That is a big strategy that a lot of people use because it brings in a lot of comments, brings in a lot of engagement, gets you a lot of buzz. Other people are talking about how you said that or whatever the case may be. And it's really, it can blow up a video. I made a video on when Canada legalized marijuana. I personally don't smoke marijuana, but I ordered a joint from the Canadian government online, had it mailed to my house. It was like when you could first do that, made a video on it. And I even said at the beginning of the video, I'm like, I don't smoke marijuana. And so when it showed up, I just explained all the laws around it and how it worked. And then I don't smoke it on camera. And I got 1 million views on that video, and everyone thought I was going to smoke it. And they were so mad that I didn't. And the comments were full of hate, and it blew up. And like people were super angry, racist. They were just, I've never seen language like that in the comments section. I couldn't believe it. But I was laughing the whole way to the bank.
There's some guy in the comment section, Doug in Idaho, he's like, you gonna smoke that? If not, I'll take it off your hands if you're not.
there are strategies to do that, but I honestly don't want that with my channel the whole time, because that eats at you the whole time. You're constantly fighting these battles. You're constantly in the drama. Like I said, this is a long-term game for me. So use it to your own discretion. Like, you go for it if that's your strategy. There's nothing wrong with it. You're entitled to your opinion, like we said, but that game's not for me.
I had my first it was accidental, but on TikTok I had my first, or the most controversial post I've ever had. It was 2 days ago, and masks came off in Boston. So I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to post this, because I have a skit that it's like hungover at brunch with your friends. Yeah. So I come into a restaurant like with hostility. I'm like, my hair's all over the place. And part of it, the kid loops around the corner with the mask on. He's the waiter. He's like, excuse me, sir, can you put your mask on? And I turn to him. I'm like, can you shut the fuck up? And like keep walking. And I'm like, oh, what a perfect time to post this. So I just throw it on there, and it starts popping. It has like 800,000 views. Wow. And this clip, it's just like this 10-second clip. And all of a sudden, like as it starts going, I'm like getting these comments like, what's wrong with the world? I'm like, he's like, you don't wear masks, you're killing people, and you're disrespectful to the waiters. I hope they spit in your food. I'm like, I'm looking at
like, tipped them 40%.
Like, do you think this happened? Like, do you think I walked in, someone filmed my life from multiple angles? Like, what the fuck? Like, I had a conversation, the cameras didn't get in the other angle, and like, I just posted it.
Yeah.
Like, no, man.
Yeah. Some people don't understand how videos are made, or how they're strategic and all that. But a little bit of controversy, that's a hot topic right now. Masks and whatnot. So you just press the button.
Yeah.
So, well, the question is, how many followers did that grow you?
It gave me a good like 5,000, I think. Or I'd say. And
there you go.
It's a lot of people were like, oh, like, yes, been wanting to say this, and I'm just sitting there like, I was just fucking around here, man. Like, I'm not that passionate about masks. If I have to wear the mask, I put it on. If they say take it off, I take it off. I don't care either. It's not.
Yeah.
If they.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I just want to cuss out my waiter again, but I figured the mask was a good excuse to do it.
And of course, I'm not ever shitting on waiters and stuff. That was not what this was about. But there were so many people riled up about that too. I was like, oh, whatever. Feel
people
your whatever way you want to feel.
Anything these days.
It's funny.
You have 250,000 followers, Mike, and I know Pat doesn't have the same following, but he's known in the hockey community as a hockey player more than a YouTuber. Do you get a lot of clout chasers, like people that they want to hook up with you, they want to get into a video, and not hook up in that sense? Sorry, I know Pat was smiling right away, not in that sense, but
that's sorry, sexual mind. I guess
I said 20 milligram rock hard at the beginning of the video, so I knew that's where it was going to go, but. Like people that want to hop on the train, pun intended, and they want to ride that success with you. I know, I'm on fire here. Like, let's go for another
You're
hour
killing
here.
the puns right now.
Oh, dude, gonna keep on rolling. The Gordie Howe one got us off and running off the podcast at the beginning. But like, do you get a lot of clout chasers that want to hop on the train and just kind of ride it out with you?
Not too many, other than you, Trav. It's been pretty easy.
That's great.
No, I would say not too many. Honestly, most people that I get a lot of DMs from people that are like, hey, just started watching your channel. I've been binging it for the last 3 days. Love what you're doing. Like, would love to hang out, or would love to buy you a coffee or a beer if you're in the area sometime. Like, really nice people. I wouldn't say I have clout chasers. And I'd say that's a good thing. I don't know.
If I was you, I'd drink and I'd eat for free, no problem. All day long, every day. You had me at free. That's my favorite F word. I'll be honest with you, Mike, and Pat as well. I was never the most popular growing up around hockey, because I probably don't need to tell you why. Like, I'm opinionated. I see things the way that I see them. I can change my views. You can teach an old dog a trick sometimes, but I am the way that I am, and I'm a much mellower version of my old man, believe it or not. My old man is a lot more extreme than I am. But when the YouTube channel started popping off, and I'm putting up 10, 20, 50,000, 100,000 views a video, it went from this guy that nobody really cared about to, oh, hey Trav, how's it going, man? Good to see. Hey, you want to come for a skate? You know what I mean? Like right now, I can tell you right now, I could put up an Instagram, like a story flare. I can find ice anywhere in Canada, any day I want, anytime, because like it's grown to that extent. But I don't know if I let people in to kind of like clout chase like that, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Well, so actually That's a really, I was having a conversation yesterday with someone, and someone mentioned this, and it was a point of view I hadn't really thought of. But let's say you've got those clout chasers, we'll just call them smaller creators that want to work with you, and they want to get some of your viewership over onto their channel, whatever the case. But is there value in fostering that relationship with them, helping them grow, and then their followers will then come over to your channel later on? Like if they have the skills to become a good creator, a good YouTuber, whatever the case, you've partnered with them once or twice when they're small, when they're 10,000 subs, then they grow to 100,000 and 6 months later, and now you do another video with them and you guys have similar content or whatever the case. So they're like, oh man, this guy helped me out early. Like you get all this love and praise and their followers will now jump over to you. There is some, what's the word for that?
Value? I mean,
value, yeah.
Long-term value. And that's a good point you mentioned. I think Pat and I may have talked about this a while ago. There's a guy blowing up in the TikTok hockey community. His name's Nick the Goalie, right? He's got probably like 200, maybe 500,000 followers, 200,000 followers. And he's from Vancouver. I met him on my last trip. Really nice kid. And I see what he's doing. I think he's doing some really, really good stuff on YouTube as well. And he said to me, we hung out. I paid for breakfast and everything just because like I owed it to him. Like he came to hang out with me. I was like, I'll buy you breakfast, whatever. And he says, hey man, like I really appreciate you doing that, blah blah blah. And I was like, trust me, buddy. You take care of the small guy while he's small, and he remembers you when he gets big. He thought I was joking. I was kind of serious about that. But
right.
It's an interesting point you bring up because I found you have to be very selective about who you work with because the amount of guys that reach out to, and not to be arrogant, but like I'm the number one goalie creator, on the internet. I'm top 3, top 5 hockey creators on the internet. Right? Like I have a very large following in the niche that I do things. So when you hit me up and you're like, oh, I'd love to make a video with you, man. Let's collab sometime. You get 23 subscribers and you're filming on an iPhone 3. I'm sorry, like this ain't, you know what I mean? Like there has to be some kind of, you got to bring someone to the table.
So I have a good story about that. I was when I was travel vlogging back, years ago now. It seemed pre-COVID. I had 6,000 subscribers and I was going to Las Vegas and I was looking to collaborate with other YouTubers, and this couple that was there, they had 66,000 subscribers at the time. So they were 11 times bigger than I was. But I reached out to them and they said yes, they'd like to collab. And when we were together, I was like, why did you guys say yes to me? And they were like, your videos are good. You seem like you got your shit together. They're like, we don't want to entertain someone that's going to be like, so what are you thinking for your thumbnail here? They know that I'm going to show up and I'm doing my work, and I actually set everything up for them. I was like, hey, I've planned this activity. Do you want to come drive bulldozers with us on the strip in Las Vegas? They were like, yes, sounds dope. All they have to do is show up, make their own video. We have a good time. We hung out afterwards. I'm now 2 or 3 times bigger than they are. So what I'm getting at is they saw the value in what I offered, even though it was small. They're like, this guy has skills. We don't have to babysit him. Let's work with it. Plus, it's a very lonely space for us. I go out, film my video, have a good time with someone for an hour, but then I come home, I'm editing alone, I'm planning alone, I'm emailing everyone alone. Like, it's a super lonely business unless we can have conversations like these with other creators in our space. Nicole, my partner, is tired of hearing me talk about YouTube. So
I was just gonna say, Trav, well, like when you hit me up, like Trav collabed with me early on when I had just started doing my videos. I think I only had like maybe 5,000 subscribers, and he just, and I think that's a similar situation. Obviously I'm not bigger than Trav now, but he just kind of maybe versus a kid who was like, oh, this is 23 subs. He may have saw like something in it rather than me like jumping on board to do a video with him because like, I could get some clout out of this.
Yeah. If we're being honest, though, I think the reason why I asked you to collab on a video, I was hanging out with Rob Lalonde Butt Ends, and we're in Boston, and he's like, "You ever thought of collabing with Pat Shea?" And I was like, "Dude, I gotta see if his abs were as ripped as in the videos." Like that was why I was like, "Let's make this happen." But you foster the relationship kind of off and on for a little bit. Pat asked me to be on his previous podcast back in, God, what was that, like December, January, or whatever?
Yeah, something like that. It was not too long ago.
Podcast did pretty well. A lot of really positive feedback. I got guys from like the American League in the East Coast who are like, that was a good podcast, man. I was like, ding, let's make a podcast. You know what I mean? So we fostered it quite nicely. I will say the only exception to that is when I'm spamming Mike when I was making my last video. I was like, hey, what do you think about this thumbnail? I sent him like 7 variations of the thumbnail. And he's like, make it whatever you want. I'm like, okay, I'll fuck off. Sorry for the language. This is a family channel. I forgot about that.
Nicole was looking over my shoulder. She's like, "You can't do this. You got to have a consulting business. You got to charge this guy. You can't be giving away all your ideas for free." And
Right.
I disagree with that. I think within the community, the more we share, the more we interact, the better it is for everyone. But I can't tell you how to do your job, Travis. You got to figure that out on your own. I can give you tips, but I can't title and thumbnail every single one of your videos.
Hey, so I need you to film this video for me, come up with a thumbnail and a title, and I'm going to pay you squat.
Could you narrate it as well, please?
Yes, and while you're at it, please reply to all the comments for me and give everybody a personal reply. Thanks, Mike.
Right. So I've started a
Tuesday.
second channel. Yeah.
I was just gonna add, like I said, I think with like clout chasing, I mean that's like a new term kind of, but I think it's just important to be good at judging character. If you're gonna let someone in to your space or let someone in on what you're doing, giving them video time, you have to be able to judge their character and know why they're doing it. Whether it's because they like you, they're gonna be your friend, or like they're gonna or they're just trying to use you to maybe get a little view time or people to see them, get a little fame or something. I think that's just important to know.
Yeah, and knowing it's okay to say no. If someone asks, you just value your own time. If you got other projects, if you think it's going to be valuable to you to hang out with this person, whether you just enjoy them as a person or you think they'll grow and you're going to want to foster that relationship or you want to learn something from them, whatever it is, you can say yes, but you can also say no.
Awesome. Well, for those listening, in case you didn't notice, Mike came on the podcast because this was going to be some of his community service. He's got some time to serve, and he figured an hour here, chipping away at that time, wouldn't be too bad. We want to thank you for listening to Slangin the Bizkit, episode 10, not 9, not 11, episode 10. Michael Downielive. I know I screwed up the last couple of weeks. Not this week. We were rolling. We were solid today. We were floating like a butterfly, stinging like, well, Pat.
Let us know what you thought, listeners, in the comments below.
Yes,
we are going to be uploading the video version of the podcast this week in clips. So take a look at that on YouTube. So also, we had two other house cleaning things before we cap off. One, we got to give a shout out to our listener of the week. I didn't pencil his name in, but he told me, and Mike, I'll let you in a little secret. We have this thing where people like to kind of bullshit us about how awesome the podcast is. So this guy, he messaged in and said that his school bus was about to explode because the podcast was so good and they were bumping it on the speaker system. Now, we think that, I know, that was my reaction as well. I sent it to Pat and he had this very similar reaction, but we're giving shout-outs. You want to be the viewer of the week? Send us a BS story about how awesome the podcast is, how much you loved it, how much it saved your life. We'd love to hear from you. Also, somebody asked, do we have a preference where they listen? Listen on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, or YouTube? I don't think we really have a preference, do we?
there's no preference.
No,
wherever
you feel comfortable. Yeah, it's 2021. Whatever you feel comfortable doing. You want to listen to the first half on Apple Podcast? Cool. Listen to the other half. Pick it up on the second half in the back 9 on YouTube. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. We're not going to tell you how to live your life, but we are going to tell you is that we drop a new episode every Thursday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Slangin the Bizkit. We want to thank you for listening. Go check out Michael Downey's channel, Downielive on YouTube. The guy's got 250,000 subscribers. If you're not subscribed already, you better. Follow Pat on Instagram as well. Check out his TikToks. He's a great guy. Love Pat. God bless everybody. And we're going to leave you with this last song, a little bit of Godsmack, and we will see you next week when episode 11 comes out.
Can I hit you guys with a story? Have either of you held or touched the Stanley Cup?
I've been with it. I didn't touch it.
I touched it. I shouldn't have, but I did it.
Oh, okay. See, I don't plan on playing in the NHL, so I'm allowed to touch it. I have a great Stanley Cup story. I was working for this marketing agency. I was in charge of Western Canada. I would go to events in Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, etc. I happened to be in Calgary for one night. I was working all day, finished work at 10 p.m., needed to eat dinner, and then just head back to my hotel, fly out first thing the next morning. The only place that's open are pubs. Go to the first pub, go to sit on the patio. No server comes to help me. So I'm like, okay, going over to the next pub, just sit down at the bar. I just want a beer, some food, and I'm going to bed. Sit down, bartender comes up. I'm like, I'll have a Hoegaarden. Great, slides it over, takes no time at all. I go like this. By the time I put it down from my first sip, the Stanley Cup is sitting in front of me, literally right where this camera is here. The Stanley Cup is. I look up, I go, there's no way this is the real Stanley Cup. The thing is dented, it's warped, the wood at the bottom is worn. I'm like, I think this is the real thing. I turn to the strangers that are sitting next to me because I'm in this bar alone, turn around, the entire bar is pushed up against me at this point because they've seen the Stanley Cup. We asked the story, there's one guy, there's like two bartenders and one tall guy with it. He's on the LA Kings, they had just won the Stanley Cup, so this was 2015 maybe, whatever year it was that the LA Kings won. He was a defenseman apparently, and he's there filling it under the tap right in front of me. Bartender gets a sip, everything. I turn around, take a picture, touch it, great, walks away. Now everyone at the bar here, we're all going, oh my gosh, we're suddenly friends because we've had this incredible experience that we just got to see and touch and hang out with the Stanley Cup for a minute. I turn around, there's a guy coming out of the bathroom. I go, oh my gosh, I went to summer camp with that guy, Dan. And I'm like, what are you doing here? You don't live in Calgary anymore. He goes, oh, my buddy from high school won the Stanley Cup, so we were golfing all day. And we got the private room over there, and we're just partying. He's like, you want to come hang out? I'm like, yeah, I do. Next thing I know, it's 3 a.m. I'm out getting pizza and was partying with the Stanley Cup and everyone that was with it, a part of this private group all night. And I did make it in time for my 6 a.m. flight, but it was close because you got to take those opportunities when some random thing happens to you when you get to party with the Stanley Cup.
We're going to redo this outro. Thank you for listening to Slangin the Bizkit episode 10. Pat Shea, Michael Downey, Downielive. Thanks for listening. See you next Thursday. Enjoy a little bit of Godsmack on your Thursday. See you later.